We're glad you're here to the October program. We welcome you. We hope that you're going to have a good time, and we're going to try and have a good time. I'd appreciate it if all the young people in the front would be real quiet while the play is going on and things are happening so that everybody can hear better. I'd like to ask William Timpson to offer the opening prayer.
Our dear, kind, and gracious Father in heaven, we pause before you this time with gratitude in our hearts of having this time together. We're grateful for the presence of our prophet and leader, Uncle Llewellyn here. We pray that you'll bless him with every desire of his heart. We pray that you'll bless those who have to perform at this time. They can be able to do it in a pleasing manner before thee. We pray your spirit and blessings to be upon us, and we do it in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Uncle Llewellyn, I'm sure glad you could come today. And Wendell. And I'm glad the rest of you are here too. We'll start with the double mixed quartet, Love's Old Sweet Song.
In the dear dead days beyond recall, when on the world the mist began to fall, out of the dreams that rose in happy throng, oh, to our hearts love sang an old sweet song. And in the dusk where fell a firelight gleam, softly it wove itself into our dream. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight comes love's old song, comes love's old sweet song. Even today we hear the song of yore, deep in our hearts it dwells forevermore. Footsteps may falter, weary grow the way, still we can hear it at the close of day. So till the end, when life's dim shadows fall, love will be found the sweetest song of all. Just a song at twilight, when the lights are low, and the flickering shadows softly come and go. Though the heart be weary, sad the day and long, still to us at twilight
Now, we have a perfectly delightful old play called Miss Nancy's Legacy. I'm going to help you with a couple of those names. Aunt Hit, for example, her christened name was Mehitable. And Aunt Hep, her christened name was Hepzibah. The scene is a room in a very old house, but the time is the present. So we'll begin now with the play.
Shades of George Washington's forefathers, where are we? Are you sure that was a 1988 cab we parked out by the driveway, or did we just alight from a stagecoach? Wait a minute, Queen Elizabeth, while I spread my brown tweeds across the door sill. Twould be terrible if those little twinkling slippers got befouled with dust.
Wayne Burrows, stop your foolishness and pick up that coat. Whoever heard of a Sir Walter Raleigh in a college tux? No, we've got to stay in this forsaken place. Half of a perfectly good evening. Let's at least make it as livable as possible. That's the trouble with you, Wayne. You take serious situations like this too lightly. In fact, you take everything in life too lightly. You're too easily satisfied.
Yes, ma'am. What can I do for you now, ma'am?
Well, I should think that common sense might suggest to you that the first thing to do when you're stranded in an old house 50 miles from home might be to light a lamp or make a fire.
Yes, ma'am. If you'll just show me where the switch is and where they keep the electric heater. Or do they use gas around here?
That's just the trouble, Wayne. Imagine it. Just imagine living in this awful, out-of-the-way place. Without any steam heat, or water in the sink, or electricity. Just seems like existing, doesn't it? Yet that's what my Aunt Nancy did for years. She'd never even let Father put in a gas range for her to do her cooking on. And she used to mortify us terribly by riding into town on one of those old high buggies that looked like a Model T on stilts. And a horse. Imagine it.
Horse? Horse? Where was it I heard the name? Didn't they use those for transportation back in the Stone Age? Or was it elephants I'm thinking of?
Wait.
Well, I don't know, but they had to jump on us at that. The prehistoric mammal had few spark plugs to get out of order, and we seldom ran out of gas. Which is more than you can say for some methods of transportation I might mention.
Wayne, we've got to get to that party tonight. Betty will never forgive us. She's been planning the party for months.
Never fear, dear lady. I'll get you there yet. Now to put some light on the subject. Ah, a light, a light. Bless your Aunt Nancy for leaving us some candles. Now hold the fort for a moment, and I'll have a glowing fire to toast your twinkling little toes.
Twinkling little toes. Wayne, look at these perfectly awful things. What is it they used to call them? Samplers? And this enormous family Bible with the overstuffed angel on the cover. Got the funniest things written in it. Listen to this. Mehitable Evelina, daughter of Elisha Bolton, born October 3rd, 1763, at 4 a.m. Died November 2nd, 1811. Died peacefully in her sleep. Hepzibah James, second daughter of Elisha Bolton, born April 16th, 1765. Died December the 24th, 1860. No mention of demise occurring in sleep. Charity Eliza, third daughter of Elisha Bolton, born sometime or other. No offspring. Who cares when Charity Eliza and Hepzibah Jane were born? And when they died? And whether they blessed the world with any offspring or not?
Just the same, if you ask me, this is a jolly old house you've come into. I wouldn't mind having a legacy like this myself. That staircase out in the hall has a lovely curve to it, and there are some rare pieces out in the other rooms. I saw a couple of Chippendales that would take an antique dealer's breath away.
I'm glad you like it. And I suppose you'd like to live here too, and let the gentle mold of the past cover you all over. That's just what I would expect of a person of your type.
Well, that might depend. You know I'd like to live almost anywhere with you.
Well, I'm afraid you won't get the chance. Besides, I wouldn't bury myself in a place like this for $1 million. Yes, I would. I would do anything for $1 million.
Well then, I suppose you're going to marry Bruce. They say he has a good cool million, and he seems to be yours for the taking.
No, I'm not going to marry Bruce. Not yet. If you really want to know what I'm going to do, I am going to sell this house for every cent it will bring. And I'm going to take the money and go away someplace. And then...
Yes, and then?
And then I'm going to live, as every woman has a right to live in these days. It's old-fashioned to expect a woman to be tied down. Besides, I couldn't find the kind of self-expression I need in doing humdrum things like keeping house, mending a man's clothes, getting his meals. No woman can. And some of us have got to be pioneers.
I see. And what do you mean by self-expression?
can't just explain it. A man wouldn't understand. But every woman has something big and creative in her, if she can just find it. With some, it's music and painting. With some, it's finding something worthwhile in the business world. And of course, there's a need now in women's influence in shaping the thoughts of the day, in literature and education, and politics. There are so many fields.
And I suppose you think a woman can have more influence by going out stump speaking for the town mayor than by building a home.
I knew you wouldn't understand. It's no use, Wayne. We are as far apart as I am from that fur-bellowed creature up there in that atrocious gilt frame.
Far apart? Say, you look enough like her to be twins. Who is she anyway?
She was, let's see, my great-great-grandmother, I think. Or maybe my great-great-great. Her name is Nancy Bolton, too. There's always been a Nancy Bolton living in this house. That is, until my Aunt Nancy died. This one in the picture is the first of the line. She lived way back in colonial times. Imagine the narrow existence of a woman in those days. And in a house like this, she doesn't look so bad, though, does she?
Bad? I should say not. And you can't tell me she led a life of such terrible misery, not with that twinkle in her eye. She's a regular beauty, isn't she? And you look just like her, Nancy. Why, even your dress has some resemblance to the Nancy in the picture. I never saw you look so beautiful as you do tonight.
You would think so. You're just so fashioned enough to like be best in a hoop skirt and poke bonnet. That's what every man wants. He'd like his wife to be a hoop skirt, poke bonnet wife.
Nancy, you know that isn't what I want. I'd never tie you down. I'd never want to do anything to hurt you, loving you the way I do. And you love me too, a little. I know you do. I've seen it in your eyes.
Perhaps.
Nancy, we'll build a home somewhere out in the country. We'll have a little garden and a house.
Oh, I forgot to mention that my great-great-grandfather, William Bolton, was a farmer.
I see. You won't have to mention it again. I should have known you would despise the kind of work I've chosen. It's too close to the fundamentals, to the things that really count in life. Even, it's too old-fashioned having anything to do with the soil, even if you've educated yourself for it, and have modern ideas and machinery, and a lot of fresh enthusiasm that will revolutionize the whole thing. You'd rather a man be a crooked lawyer, I suppose, or a cheap politician, than a good, clean, up-to-date farmer. Well, I guess we understand each other at last. Once we get out of this little scrape tonight, I'll not bother you again.
Wayne, don't be foolish. Of course we'll always be friends. Wayne, where are you going?
I'm going down the road a mile or so back, see if I can telephone a garage. We may be late, but we're going to get to Betty's tonight, if it's a possible thing. It's just luck that the car happened to break down right on the doorstep of your Aunt Nancy's legacy, and that you happen to have the key. Now, if our luck only holds.
Don't be gone long, will you? I'd go too if it wasn't so far to walk.
I'll get you some more wood before I go.
ridiculous thing. You ought to be thrown in the fire. Every one of you. Oh, goodness. Nancy Bolton, this will never do. You're actually nervous. And you, a 20th century product of psychology. Quit it this minute. Wayne, I believe this house is full of ghosts. I'll never dare stay here while you're gone. While you're out, I can almost hear footsteps on the stairs.
Well, isn't every house haunted by its memory? After a house has lived long enough with people in it, their lives sort of become knit into its very structure until it ceases to be a thing of wood and bricks and nails. And it almost has a heartbeat of its own.
I don't like the idea. What do you suppose is in this box? I've got to find out or I'll imagine all sorts of things. Wait a minute. There's a key on the ring that goes to the house. It's it. But it's stuck. Will you help me? Books. Nothing but books. But what funny little ones.
They look old as the hills. It might be somebody's diary.
What funny, spindly handwriting. And look, how the F's are made just like F's. Wayne, it is a diary. And it was written by Nancy Bolton. Her name is in the front of it. It must be the first Nancy. The one whose picture is up there. Dry stuff, probably. But maybe I could pass away the time reading it while you're gone. If it's very old, it ought to be worth something, oughtn't it? Maybe I could sell it. Who knows?
What does it sound like?
We started from Dover early this morning and rode for perhaps 3 hours without passing any town of note. The stage was very comfortable and we made very good time, except for a few moments when the horse, a handsome black creature that reminded me of our own Queen Bess, except for a little white star on his forehead, locked his shoes. We passed through Falmouth at about 6 this evening. It is a pretty little town by the sea. And I looked at all the buildings with interest, since this is the nearest post station to our new home, where my dear husband is taking me. How thrilling! Imagine the life. That must be when my great-great-grandmother brought her here, as a bride, here to this house, when it was new. How funny. She must have sat on that very sofa, and in these very chairs.
You're sure you'll be all right? I'll try not to be gone too long.
I'll be all right. This, I do believe, Wayne, is really going to be interesting. knows it's sure to be late with that Esri Tuttle driving it. The only time that man was ever on time for anything was to his own wedding. And that was because Elder Barnes overslept and was half an hour late. It would have been better if he'd slept a little longer and never come at all. I always said there's no good come from Esri carrying off with Sperry. And you can see I was right.
Why, it seems to me they're real happy. I saw him and Sari at the building party the other night, and they both looked as content as could be.
Which only goes to show you can't tell much by looking at the surface. The happier folks seem to be, the more you can be sure they're hiding something. No, Gilroy runs deep.
Don't you think we like the strange curtains and cracks, Mr. Miracle? It seems as if we make it look kind of truthful-like when they drive up. There could be a little bit of light showing.
No, I don't. We don't want any neighbors prowling around, seeing what my nephew and his new bride have for carpets and furniture and knickknacks, before ever she's seen them herself, do we? I guess some of these things will make the nurse decide to sit up and take notice, all right. It's not every young bride who has a house that is nice to come into, and a parlor full of brand-new furniture. If I could say, as Clinton, seeing that I helped poor William take them out, the furniture looks real nice. That Sophie and these chairs came all the way from Boston. They're the latest thing out. Although I do think his buying of Sophie was kind of extravagant, and I told him so. But nothing was too good for Miss Nancy. If other dames are having sofas in their parlor, she was going to have one too. I only hope he doesn't make her lazy with all his anxiety for her comfort and all. She's just an ordinary woman like you and me, and women were made to work. We'll soon find out what she's like. Though as for me, I'm sort of dubious. The girls nowadays aren't like what they used to be when we were young. They dress different for one thing. They wear their skirts too short. Why, only the other day, I saw Eliza Evans' girl right out on Main Street. Where she walked, and see how injured her stocking above her shoes. And the way they talk nowadays is simply scandalous. I'm sure I don't want they're coming to. Did you want me, Mom? Yes, I did. Some time ago. It seems like it was yesterday. Be sure to see that everything in the kitchen is spick and span. And Lucretia Octavia, Mum. That's the way I'm present, but I ain't seen no call to take it. Very well. Lucretia Octavia. So why anyone would want to hang a name like that on a poor defenseless critter, I can't see. Lucretia Octavia, put your cap on straight. Yes.
Do you suppose we better ought to stay? Don't you think maybe they'd rather be alone? Of course, I don't know what it's like being just married and everything, but if it was me...
No, I suppose you don't, though I've often suspicioned of you charity devotions that you'd like me. I declare, sometimes you are almost immodest.
I'm sorry. I never meant.
Well, now that we're here, we might as well get ourselves comfortable. Is everything ready? Are you sure you haven't forgotten something? No, I haven't forgot a thing. Is she
it out with pots and pans?
Hepzibah Wilton, is that a peppermint broth you're eating? How many times have I told you they're not good for your liver?
Only a crumb, Hannibal. It must have got stuck to the lining of my pocket. Do you suppose she'll make poor William a good wife? I do hope he hasn't wasted her life. I'm sort of dubious about it, you know. When I see her, she makes lots of pretty things. Why, we never make near such pretty samples as the ones you send along in that box. It was just adore the one with sweet little angels on it instead. Happy angels from above, come and bless our home and love.
I much prefer the one with the roses on it. It's kind of more sensible sentiment. Like the roses, we all must die. That's a healthy thought to have stuck up on the wall. It gives you something to ponder over.
It seems to me she has got so much linen as a young girl up her age ought to have. I do hope she hasn't wasted her life being no such things. Why, I thought she had a lot. All that big chest full.
I can tell you just exactly what she's got. I counted them, every one. She has 21 sets of linen sheets, 6 feather bolsters, and a dozen feather pillows. Also, 21 sets of linen pillow bears. Although I must say this linen in the sheets and pillow bears can't have had more than 30 bleachings. All of ours had at least 40.
Well, that isn't so bad. So in our day, I am sure the girls used to make more. I really don't know what they're coming to with all of their idleness.
Hepzibah!
She's got some lovely chip quilts and some scraps of the prettiest patterns. Why, there's one with roses on it as big as cows. It's the loveliest thing.
They say she's making lovely morning pieces. If she's right good-natured, I'm going to have her make me one with funeral urns and weeping willows on them. They're so smart nowadays.
Did you see that perfectly beautiful morning piece that Angelina Bradbury made last winter? It's the most gorgeous thing I ever saw. In the center was the tree of life, all covered with red worsted blossoms, with an angel in one corner and Satan in the other. He was an awfully fierce looking thing. I call Angelina a real artist. give dear William anything but that, but I just couldn't give that away. Mrs. Ellsworth gave it to me just before she died. It was made of her children's pearls.
Charity Bolton, do you mean to tell me you're still mooning over that good-for-nothing John Ellsworth? It would be just like you, though, to demean yourself by showing affection for someone who never even got to the point of asking for your hand in marriage. Just how old are you, Charity Bolton?
I was 29 my last birthday.
Exactly. Well, you're too old to show any such nonsense. When will you realize you're an elderly spinster like the rest of us?
But you must admit, Mr. McAdable, that he was rather heady that one night.
Charity, you forget yourself. They're coming. They're coming. I saw their stage stop at the door. Lucretia. Lucretia Octavia, Mum. Lucretia Octavia, Mum. Put your cap on straight.
They're coming, they're coming. Help me better go. Just think you bring her home for the first time. How positively thrilling.
Charity used to say the strangest things.
And Pip, and Pip, and Chatty, here we are. Hello, Aunt Kit. Hello, Aunt Cat. Take this, Aunt Chatty. Now, meet the Queen of Falmouth and the Empress of the whole Atlantic seaboard. My wife, Mistress Nancy Bolton, if you please.
Oh, William, isn't she sweet?
Charity, remember your place. Are you the eldest in this family?
Oh, do you really think so? Well, I think you're sweet, too. Just think of it. Getting 3 brand new aunts, along with a brand new husband.
Well, we are glad to see you, dear. And we do hope you like the house. It isn't every young bride who has a house that fits to come to, you know. I only hope you realize your good fortune, for if you were the least bit dissatisfied, it would surely be tempting Providence.
Me? Dissatisfied? When I got William? Sister Hannibal, I really think we better go. Oh, must you really go? When we just come? But of course, it would be selfish of us to keep you, if you feel you really must go. Do you live near?
Just down the road, beyond the clump of willows. But it's nearer to go by the stile.
Oh, then you can come over first thing in the morning. I'll be looking for you because there are so many things that you'll have to help me with. I really don't know much of anything about running a house.
Well, of course, you wouldn't be expected to, a young thing like you. And you'll find us all very willing to help you with everything. In fact, I've already done just about everything to get you started. I have the bed made up fresh in the spare room with the rose counterpane. You and William will want to sleep in the south chamber where the four-poster is. It's warmer. Now, there are ways and ways of making beds. And of course, you probably won't know the Bolton way. So I'll have to show you. The bottom blanket wants to be tucked in just 6 inches from the bottom, and the top one 10. I've left the fresh like as not, if you don't, you'll be putting 8 eggs into a cake instead of 12, and leaving the rosemary and thyme out of the pumpkin pie.
And is that so terrible? I can see you're going to have to help me a very great deal. If only you knew how much I want to make William a good wife.
Very commendable, my dear. And of course you will, in time. Now, Charity, if you'll get our wrap. Hepzibah, go into the kitchen and tell that Lucretia Octavia person she can bring the tea in any time. And William, come with me. I want to show you about the cow.
I'll be right back, sweet. You're a clever little thing to get rid of them so soon.
Oh, you perfectly darling sofa. You lovely chair. You sweet carpet. Nobody ever had so many beautiful things in all this world.
You really like it? I think it's the sweetest room I ever saw. Nothing was too good, William kept saying for his fancy.
Oh, did he really say that? He's too good for me. I know he is. I'll never be able to make him have so good a wife.
Oh, yes, you will. And you're going to be so happy. I know you are. I hoped I would be happy like that.
I'm sorry. He didn't die, did he?
No, he went away. But there was a time when I was sure he cared.
Of course. He must have.
Do you really think so?
I don't see how he could have helped it.
I'll always remember what you said. And it will be so lovely watching you and William. It will be almost as good as having it myself. I've got something that might look good on that center table. It's the loveliest cluster of roses all made off there. The mother of someone I cared for gave it to me a long time ago. But I'd like to have you have it.
Oh, that's dear of you, Aunt Daddy. But I couldn't think of taking it. I would like to come over and see it, if I may.
Charity? Come, Charity. We're going home now.
Oh, William, are they really gone? Are we really alone in this lovely, precious house?
Nancy, sweet, do you really like it?
Like it? Why, it's the most perfect thing that anybody ever called a home. That darling sofa. I've been wanting to sit on it ever since we came. But I had to wait for you. Come, William. Sit beside me. And if you're very good, I'll let you hold my hand. Do you suppose there'll be any other lovers sitting here like us? Maybe our grandchildren, William, and our great-grandchildren. Do you suppose there'll be any of them? a terribly solemn conclusion. What do you suppose they'll be like?
Like you, I hope. If they're only half as happy as we are, they'll be lucky. Nancy, do you suppose I'll ever be able to make you happy? You ought to have different things from these. Velvet carpet, and lovely furniture, and nothing but silk and satin dresses. And these pretty hands of yours, they ought not to have to scrub and churn, and spin flax, and bake bread. You ought to do nothing but sit on the sofa and embroider.
But I wouldn't be happy, William. Honestly, I wouldn't. Every woman wants to do those things. If she can do them for someone she loves very much. She always has, and she always will. Oh, can't you see how wonderful it is? We're going to make this house more than just walls and floors and furniture. Something that will last always, even when we're no longer here. It's just a house now, but we're going to live in it and laugh in it and love in it and maybe suffer in it together. Oh, can't you see how wonderful it is? It just goes on and on and on forever.
Yes, darling, I see. I only hope it always has a Nancy in it.
Are you ready for your next tea? No. Next tea? How lovely. We'll have it here by the fire, Lucretia. Lucretia ought to be a That's much too long a name. Can't I just call you Ludi? Yeah. That sounds real pretty when you say. Here, Ludi, let me fix your hat. You must have got it twisted when you came through the door. That looks better. Is that all, Mom? Or can I bring you something else, Mom? It's lovely, Ludi. Everything's fine.
And Ludi, we can't be needing you anymore tonight.
Your mint tea is served, kind sir. If you will just pull up a chair.
Nancy, is it really you sitting on the other side of the table where I dreamed you would one day be sitting?
You better drink some tea, William. It will be getting cold.
That reminds me, Mistress Bolton. Elder Barnes was up the other day, and he said that you might choose the text for the coming Sabbath, since you are a bride, as that is the custom hereabout, for the bride to choose the text for the elder to preach upon.
How lovely. Let's look for it now, William. That's much more exciting than drinking tea. We could do that any time. Bring me the book, William, and we'll pick it out together. very special indeed, won't it, William, to be our wedding sermon? Aren't there some verses somewhere about being terribly happy and having a beautiful home and all that?
I know one. Whoso findeth a wife findeth a good thing, and obtaineth favor of the Lord. Provided the name of the wife be Nancy.
Don't be silly, William. I always liked the story of Isaac and Rebecca. Maybe there's something in that.
If there were only something about a house, or a home, or love.
Wait a minute. I have an idea, if I can only find it. I heard an elder preach upon it only 2 Sabbaths ago. Look, William, here it is. By love, serve one another. Isn't that a nice one? It's just what I was saying about our home lasting forever. It will. I know it will. If all who live within it love and serve. Let's mark it somehow. What can we mark it with?
Here. It's a little rose from your bouquet. Won't that do?
Well, I'm back at last. I didn't dream it would take me so long. I hope you haven't been... Nancy! Nancy! Wake up! I've got somebody to fix the car.
Oh. William?
William nothing. Don't you know me? I'm Wayne Burroughs, the despised agriculturalist, slave of the soil. Now, if you can come back to the present, I'll tell you what's happened. I succeeded after about an hour in getting a garage on the telephone. But they won't be able to come out for about another hour. And that'll make us too late for Betty's party. I'm sorry for your sake, Nancy. I guess I got you into one mess too many. I promise you, once we get out of this, I'll not bother you again. Now that I've found out how you feel about me.
Please, Wayne. Please don't. Wayne.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to hurt you. You know how I feel about you, Nancy. I'd get down and let you walk all over me if it would make you any happier. Don't waste any sympathy on me. I'm not worth it. I'll just do a fade out and leave the stage clear for Bruce or someone who can give you sufficient opportunity for expressing yourself. You needn't give me another thought.
But Wayne, I want to think about you. I can't help it. Probably you hate me now. And there's no reason why you should. But I'll die if you do. There's no use living if you hate me, Wayne.
Nancy, don't joke. I can't bear it.
I'm not joking.
Nancy, you don't mean... Just what do you mean, anyway?
Please, Wayne, don't make me propose. It isn't modest.
Oh, Nancy, you darling.
Oh, Wayne, I was so afraid for a moment. What if you really had hated me?
I hate you?
Let's sit on the sofa, Wayne. And if you're very good, I'll let you hold my hand. I'm not going to sell this house after all. I really couldn't, you know. Not after. Well, we can keep it for our weekend home. It would be too bad for anyone to live here whose name wasn't Nancy, wouldn't it?
It surely would. The name Nancy is written in every little thread in the carpet and every little flower on the wall. But Nancy, darling, do you suppose I can ever make you happy? You ought to have different things from what I can give you. Silks and satins and velvet and lovely furniture. And these pretty hands of yours, they ought not to have to cook and mend and things like that. You ought not to have to do anything but sit on the sofa and listen to the radio.
But I wouldn't be happy, Wayne. Honestly, I wouldn't. Without doing things like that. Every woman wants to do those things, if she can do them for someone she loves very much. She always has, and I guess she always will. Oh, can't you see how wonderful it's going to be, Wayne? Here, in this house, where so many people have lived and laughed and loved and maybe suffered together. And we're going to live and laugh and love and be a part of the change. Oh, can't you see how wonderful it is?
Yes, darling, I see. And you're the most wonderful thing of all.
Of course, maybe we'll have to change something. But not much. We'll leave most of it just the way it is. And of course we'll keep everything.
Even the family Bible with the overstuffed angel on the cover?
Oh, especially that, Wayne. Wait a minute. I'm trying to remember something. Bring it here, Wayne. I want to see it.
What do you want? Family records? Here they are, somewhere in the middle. Hepzibah Jane, daughter of Elisha Bolton, born April 16, 1765.
Here, let me see. Charity Eliza, third daughter of Elisha Bolton, died November 15, 1805. Charity. That sounds nice, doesn't it? I think she must have been nice and little and very sweet. And maybe a little sad. I hope she was happy, Wayne, before she died.
Look, here's a rose, a flower somebody tried to press. Might have been a rose, though it's a sorry-looking specimen now.
Oh, Wayne, let me see. Wayne, look hard. very hard on the page where you found it. Are there some words marked there?
There are some funny markings here, but I don't know what they mean. The ink's all faded.
Wait a minute. I'm going to remember. By love, serve one another. Is that the verse, Wayne?
Yes. How did you know?
Perhaps I saw it in the diary. Or perhaps, well, it doesn't matter. I knew it anyway. Let's put it that way. It's our verse now. It's our house. If all who live within love and serve.
Now it's my turn. An old refrain is always haunting me. I heard in childhood days at mother's knee, there in the candlelight so tenderly, she'd sing a song that lives in memory, a strain of happiness that dearer grows, a hymn of love that just a mother knows. And as my tired eyes begin to close, at peace with all the world, I'd find repose. Gone are those happy days so heaven sent. If I could live them o'er, I'd be content. Now every night when shadows cover me, I miss that old refrain of memory. My cares and troubles used to steal away in my dear mother's arms at close of day. But now my worries seem to linger on, without the comforting of her sweet song. The firelight gleamed upon her silver hair, and o'er her head a halo lingered there. And to this angel sent from up above, I'd cling as she would sing her song of love. Gone are those happy days so heaven sent. If I could live them o'er, I'd be content. Now every night when shadows cover me, I miss that old refrain of memory. Gone are those happy days so heaven sent. If I could live them o'er, I'd be content. Now every night when shadows cover me, I miss that old refrain of memory. Thank you. Now we will be favored with a polka. You know, a polka is one of the oldest dances in the world. At least that's what I've heard. And the theme of our program seems to be old things, so this is right in time. The Polka by the Dots. That was fun. I feel refreshed just watching. Now we have Farmer in the Dell by the Little Farmers, and these are the future farmers of America. You know how those farmers are. Sometimes they take their time. You know, there's always a little bit of wind with the rain, didn't you? Now we have a group of ladies that really know how to sing. They're going to sing the old spinning wheel, and if you'll notice, we have one right there. That's an authentic one. Came from Australia, they tell me. favored with the barbershop double quartet.
was there I knew that you loved me true. You were 16, my village queen, by the old mill stream, down by the old mill stream, where I first met you, with your eyes of blue, dressed in gingham too. It was there I knew that you loved me true. You were 16, my village queen, by the old mill stream.
Come on, you guys, let's go look at the photograph. Helping Uncle Fred. Yeah, which one do you want first? Yeah, that one. Thank you, Glenn. Find it. This one? Is that what it says? Yeah. She's my baby? Yeah. She's my baby. Good.
I'm in the court that stood before the king for half a day. I'm the pride of all the slaves, and I'm very pleased to say they all throw kisses mixed with smiles to get me on the dock. But there's one called Daisy, she's the dearest daisy of the lot. She's my daisy, my phony daisy. She's as sweet as sugar candy, and she's very fond of Sandy, and I'm weary for my dearie. I would rather lose my horse than lose my daisy. On payday when we get our pay, I buy her chocolate creams, then I go and spend the rest along with the boys in the canteen. And when the guard comes round at closing time to put us out, by that time we're half tipsy, and you ought to hear me shout, she's my daisy, my phony daisy. She's as sweet as sugar candy, and she's very fond of Sandy, and I'm weary for my dearie. I would rather lose my horse than lose my daisy. I often think I'd like a change. So one night I went out and made a nice fat cook while I was wandering round about. I kissed her on the nose and then I kissed her on the cheeks. But it's not like kissing Daisy. I can taste her face for a week. She's my Daisy, my bonny Daisy. She's as sweet as sugar candy, and she's very fond of fancy, and I'm weary for my dearie. I would rather lose my spurs than lose my Daisy.
Is that enough for today? Oh, another one. What do you want to hear now? Maggie. Yeah, Maggie. You and I were young, Maggie? Yeah. Is that what you said, Sam?
When
you ever see any records like this? They're about a 1/4 inch thick. Hey, I just thought of something. That's a good way to get rid of that. It's a good way to get rid of these stereos. I'm not used to this.
It's a good way to get rid of the stereos is just, you know, do away with all the stereos and have everybody have a wind-up phonograph. Then the kids can't carry them around on their shoulders. Can you imagine that? Carrying one of those and up there cranking away? That's Uncle Fred's phonograph. It's an antique. I looked in it trying to find a date, and all I found was Edison, number 18. So you have to draw your own conclusion on that. I thought that phonograph belonged to Uncle Fred's mother, but he told me tonight it didn't. But it still means the same. I imagine they take very good care of it. Now we have a poem written especially for the October program, this October program, by Aunt Permelia. It's named Tools. When winds grow chill and frequent, and the air grows crisper too, when leaves have turned from living green to scarlet, gold, and blue, when fields are ripe with golden grain and apples on the trees are dancing in the moonlight to every passing breeze, when blue, blue skies are overhead, bird flocks are flying high, the hopper and the cricket have ceased their rasping cry, when all these things around you are happening every day, then you may know assuredly October's on its way. Some things are ever-changing, and some things never do. The same blue skies of autumn for ages have been blue. The same bright stars shine overhead, the same moon smiling too. The same sun brightens every day, each evening falls the dew. But methods, they're the things that change. How Grandpa's work was done is very, very different from the work of his grandson. Now tractors purr and wheels turn, and grandson sits inside. Long years ago, our grandpa took plowing in his stride. Let's sit a while and let him tell of tools long laid to rest, for he's the one that knows them and can tell of them the best.
Grandpa, what's this little wheelbarrow thing called?
That's not a wheelbarrow. That's a furrower that's a furrower to make little furrows in your truck garden. It's got a shovel on the back. You push it along by hand power, and it makes a little furrow between the rows. You can put them wheels right on so that the row, while it's small, it'll go right over it. And leave a furrow in the bottom so that when the water comes or you sprinkle, while the water goes in this little furrow and it moistens the seed as it's put down in the bottom in the furrow.
What's this thing called?
Milcher, that's a scythe. I'll have to tell you a little about this scythe. It's a primitive mowing machine. When the old pioneers come into Utah, they cut their hay and their grass with a thing like this. And I'll show you how it works. If they go into a field, they swap like that. Cut their grass or their hay like that. They keep it very short, and it's made so that you can cut various kinds of vegetation. Sometimes they can change the blade here They have a variety of blades. So one of them was almost twice this long. And they can set it on different angles here. They keep it very sharp. And when they cut, the old timers, when they come into Utah, a good man in an 8-hour day used to cut. In a field of grain, they could cut 2.5 or 3 acres in a day, besides tying up the grain in bundles. The way they tie their grain in bundles, they take a small handful of the straw that they cut while it's pliable a little bit, one in each hand, and they give it a twist, put them together and give them a twist. Kind of makes a knot, and then they kneel down on one knee and push one of the things under the ground. It was before they had twine, so they tied it with this straw. When they got one under the thing, and they'd gather up as much as they needed to be, about the size they needed, then they'd give these handfuls each together again, give it a twist, and tuck it under the band, so it made bundles, so that they was used in such a way that they could pick them up with a pitchfork and handle them. It's a very primitive thing, but it was quite applicable and usable in the days of the pioneers.
What's this?
This is an old-time rake that they used to gather the stuff after they used the scythe to cut them. Some of them was twice this big, and they had long spikes on them. But it's what they call a rake. They just rake whatever their hay or the grass or grain, they'd rake them up in windrows, and then they could go ahead and bind them up and tie them up. That's the rake that follows the scythe, and they cut the grain.
What is it?
Have you ever seen one of these?
Oh.
This is a thing that weighs. It's not quite all here. They have a heavy iron ball. This is the thing that weighs, and it has a scale on this here. There's little notches on it all the way around. And it's marked so that there's various pounds. It would weigh ordinarily, one like this, weigh up to about 300 pounds. The scale is on here, if you could read it, where you set it. You hang it on here, and you hang the weight on it on one, and the other's like this, and it tells you when it comes to a balance. You can read this here, it hangs on this, and when it balances so that this thing is a horizontal position, then you can read the scale on this and it tells you how many pounds you weigh. It's a weighing machine. Stilliards, they call it.
What do you call these?
That's some tongs. The blacksmith's tongs. They're made so that you get a piece of metal in there when it's hot. You handle it like that. Your hot metal in there, and you hold it over your anvil with one hand. You have a heavy hammer here, and you can hammer your hot metal into whatever shape you need. That's a good pair of tongs. I haven't seen one like that for quite a while. Blacksmith tongs.
What's this funny-looking thing?
Oh, I haven't seen one of them for quite a while either. It's got some cogs down in here. In here, you turn this crank. Looks like it hasn't been used lately. It hasn't been greased. turn this crank and those cogs will get whatever it is and go down there and squeeze it through an apparatus and grinds them up into pulp or shreds. It's a grinder. You put your stuff right in this little hole here. Looks like it'd grind corn sputter or whatever you put down there. It's chock full of little teeth here that chews it all up. It's a grinding machine for vegetation.
Interesting. What's this thing with the foot on it?
Let's try it out and see what it is. Well, it has a treadle and it has a groove in here so that it has a round belt that runs in here and puts it on your other machine. You work it like this. Now, the belt that's on this runs another machine, whatever it is, whether it's a grinder or what. It's a treadle that operates the machine, and I see it's been greased up. It works real good.
What's this heavy green machine, Grandpa?
This is an old-fashioned water pump. The handle's been broke off. It's generally about this long. It's mounted on a pivot here, and it's got a dish in the top here. They generally keep an extra bucket of water by their old well when they use this. And in order to get it to pump water, this pipe goes down into the well, into the water. And they pour water, they have an extra bucket of water, and they pour it in this dish, and it goes down this hole. Replaces the air that's in there, crowds it out with water, so that when you pull this handle down, the pivot is on this, and there's a plunger down in here, a valve. You push your handle down, and that pulls the valve up in here, and it works on a vacuum, so that when you come up, it's on a suction. And when you push this down, it pulls that up, and with the water in there, and replace the air, where the suction pulls the water up, down, from down in the well through this pipe, comes up to this place where there's an opening, and the water pours out as you pump it here, like this. The water pours out into your container. It's an old-fashioned water pump.
Pretty neat.
Yes, it is.
What's this big piece of metal?
That's another grinder. There's some gears down in this thing. It's made of the dish, so you put, everybody knows about a kitchen chopper, and it's on the same principle as a chopper that you use in the kitchen. You can put your produce in here. There's teeth or knife edges, whatever, down in here, and you cut it down in here, and you turn this handle way it cuts or grinds whatever you put in there. It's a grinder. Everybody that has anything to do with putting up meat or stuff in the kitchen knows what they are.
Can you tell us about this one?
Well, that's another one. That's a rope machine, rope maker. It's not all here. There's supposed to be a crank on it. But there's 3 hooks in here, all on a gear, and they're spaced regular. When they make ropes, they have binding twine. Generally, what I've used in a way is regular binding twine or whatever. It's sometimes various kinds of twine. And you run it and hook them on these ropes and back on each one a number of twines on each one. It depends on the size of the rope you want to make, how many strands you put on here. And you turn this with a crank. It's operated with a hand crank. And there's a center pulley here. And as you crank it, you twist these things so that it twists each one the strands of the rope. And you can gauge the hardness of the twist by the tension you put as you turn it. You can make a hard twist rope or you can make a soft twist rope. It depends on the tension that you make as you crank it. So it winds them 3 strands into one, makes a rope. It's a rope machine.
That is interesting. What's this thing, Dad?
I don't know whether you can see that or not. That's a curved knife. It's very sharp. And it has a hook on the end. It's called a hoof trimmer. It's used by the person that shoes horses, generally. I might tell you what this is for. When the man shoes the horses, he generally works the bottom of the foot of the horse over to fit it flat with the shoe. And this trims what they call the frog in the horse's foot. Every horse has 4 feet with a frog in each foot. So there's lots of frogs. And this trims the frog. It's got a very sharp hook on it. And this frog is in the center of the bottom of the foot. And it's a kind of a substance that's like a very hard gristle or a combination of soft bone or something like that. This tool is very sharp, and you cut it off and trim the frog around the foot. It's very useful. Besides the horse having a frog in each foot, each horse has 2 hocks. Maybe people didn't know that horses had frogs and hocks, but they do. And this is a very useful tool. When they shoe horses, they get their foot trimmed with this thing, hold their foot up between their knees, and I guess they're mean people, but the horse shoer drives nails through an iron shoe and right into the edge of the horse's foot. And each shoe, when it's completed, has 8 nails driven through the shoe, and they come out around the edge of the horse's hoof. These nails are built with a taper on one side. You have to put them in the right size or else they'd go in towards the frog and cripple the horse. But they come out on the outside of the hoof, and they're clinched on to hold the shoe on the horse. So each horse, when they have a complete set of shoes on, they have 32 nails in each shoe. It's driven through the toe of the horse's hoof. Is that all of them? I guess that's it. That's all I know about horses, frogs, and hoofs.
Thank you, Uncle Virgil. I remember using most of those tools when I was little. You're not laughing. You know how it is. You get old and you kind of forget. I forget when I was young. We have now, all things must come to an end, and our program's coming to an end. Right now we're going to sing the Autumn Song.
Now we're going to have a real fun time showing you what it's like on the farm. The last number of the farm song. Thank you very much for being here. We want to thank everyone that's helped a great deal. Luella and Uncle Fred, Martha, everybody. Thank you. I'd like to ask Reuben Jessup to offer the closing prayer.
Our Our Father in heaven, we come before you this time and thank you for the opportunity to enjoy each other's company and have the opportunity to entertain one another. Thank you for all the many blessings you give to us, and feel to express our gratitude, especially for our prophet, Uncle Rulon, and ask you to bless him and bless us to be alert and receptive and apply into our lives the things that he has taught us. We pray you to take us to our homes in peace and safety, and that we can keep your spirit with us. We pray in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Tomorrow night, we would like to start at 7 o'clock, so we won't run quite so late. Thank you.